everybody. I'm gonna wait just a couple more minutes and see if a couple more people jump in. They may not, which is perfectly fine. As we start, just kind of maybe some ground rules. I muted some of you that were in here, and that's just because I'm gonna talk first. It's all about me and what I want to talk about. But after that, go ahead and unmute yourself. If you've never been in a Hangout before, on your screen, there are kind of at the top bar, up there, there's some of those actions there. One of them is a microphone muting, and then the camera if you don't want us to see your face. You can choose all of those ones. And then you can even do nice little special effects down on this side. There's a bunch of stuff you can click on. We also have the chat room open, so the chat is up in this box corner there. If you can't see it already, go ahead and click on the chat bar there, and then you can type in questions, things that you don't want to forget. Go ahead and type them in. Wendy's going to be in charge of kind of monitoring that, so you can definitely go ahead and look at that and see how that's going. Am I muted? I'm not, right? No. Okay. Good. I can't hear you guys. I don't know why I asked. Okay. That sounds great. Let's go ahead and start. There was one other person that really wanted to try to get on, so I'm going to see if she can get on really quick. So Wendy, if you want to say something or say hi, for those of you that don't know Wendy, she's over there, so you can go ahead and unmute, and I'm going to look for this person.
Hi guys, I've got my little boy with me today. He's not feeling very well, so he's going to kind of join us. But I just want to introduce myself. I'm Wendy. I live in Orem, and I take care of all of the clients that are down in this area that need help or support. I also help on the Facebook group Hypnobirthing Utah, and I have Breastfeeding Utah as well. So welcome to our Hangout. We're so glad you're here, and yeah.
That was so cute, Wendy! Yay! Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just jump into it and start, and hopefully that lady, she'll kind of show up if she's gonna make it, which I think would be great. Our kind of topic that we're talking about today is nipple pain, and some of you might have noticed nipple pain is sadly kind of fairly common with breastfeeding. Believe it or not, a lot of women kind of experience it. Not everybody, but you saw the study that I showed, 80 to 90% of people have some type of nipple discomfort that kind of happens in the beginning of breastfeeding. As a lactation consultant, I'm an IBCLC, so I'm one of those breastfeeding experts. We have this big, long campaign where we talk about how breastfeeding should not hurt. It should not be painful, and we kind of reiterate that a lot and a lot and a lot. And sometimes I feel like that might put some women up for maybe an unfair advantage or not kind of really understanding. Believe it or not, your nipples are really sensitive. I don't know if you've ever touched them or felt them before. They're sensitive. They feel a lot. And when you've never breastfed before and you get that cute little small baby on there, babies are strong. I'm not going to lie. They're really strong, and they really want to eat, and they can really suck. So you're going to feel something. Now, what that is to you or to anybody else, it's completely different. I don't know what your pain threshold is like. I could stub my toe, and it could feel like an amputation for me. You could stub your toe, and you might not even notice it. So we all have kind of different pain levels of what is extreme for us. So what's really important to know is that if you're experiencing nipple pain that is severe, where your toes are curling up, it feels like your nipple's getting ripped off, that is something you really, really need to get some help with. And you need to get some help with at that moment, not a week later, 3 days later. You need to get help, and you should get help right away, if that makes sense. So get someone in there to kind of help you establish what's going on, because that is not normal pain. Your nipple should not come off with breastfeeding. So that's something we definitely don't want to have you experience. There is maybe some discomfort, and again, like I said, it happens with a lot of moms. So a lot of things that I talk about when I meet moms in the first couple of days is, okay, let's manage this. Let's figure out what's going to work to help you heal while you're breastfeeding so things can just get better. If you get a really bad latch in the beginning and maybe something happened and now you have bruising or you have swelling, cracks, bleeding, hopefully none of that ever happens because it's not normal, but it can. And so we talk a lot about, okay, how do I help heal this? How can I move forward? So that should always be part of the conversation. So today I'm going to give you, I think it's my top 3 ideas on helping with nipple pain. Nipple pain can be really specific to exactly what's going on. Again, like I mentioned, lots of things can happen. Lots of different things can happen. So kind of what's happening is what I'm going to recommend more than another one, but I'm going to tell you the top 3, and they kind of generally help for a lot of things. So the first thing is, if you're experiencing nipple pain, contact a breastfeeding expert. Do that one. So contact Wendy, contact someone in your local area. If you're in Utah, Julie's really great as an IBCLC. Contact Wendy. She's really good. I'm pointing to her photo down there. And get some help. So first get that initial help, because if something's wrong with a latch or something's wrong with structure in baby or anything like that, we really need to fix it. Otherwise, you're just putting a Band-Aid on like a bleeding stump. That's not going to help. It's going to forever hurt. And although that Band-Aid may feel a little bit better, every time you breastfeed and when you're doing it 10 to 12 times a day, it's just going to get worse. So you got to fix the root of the problem first. And then kind of heal the rest of it. So definitely contact somebody. If you guys want to type in your email addresses, we can kind of send you who might be within your area that you can contact, along with their phone numbers and everything. So that's really great. Go ahead and put it into the chat, and then Wendy will collect them, and we'll send out kind of like a blast of everything that we're talking about too. I have some things that you can make at home, so I'll give you the recipes for those if you haven't already gotten them from me. So put in your email addresses over in the chat bar, which is up in that way, remember. So first thing that I like to talk about is something really simple for nipple pain treatment. When I talk to moms, so let's say it's kind of just redness, it's burning, it's just kind of really, really painful, and you're not really enjoying it so much, and you just need some gentle help. There is always breast milk. You've probably heard it a lot. Breast milk is pretty amazing. It's actually readily available. It's right there. It's the perfect temperature. So you kind of hand express a little bit of that breast milk that you might have there, and that can help. Some women really like that. Some women don't. That's fine. So definitely kind of use some breast milk. What I go past that is going to be actually some oil. Oil that you have in your house right now. So I talk to moms a lot about coconut oil. Love coconut oil. It has a lot of antimicrobial stuff, bacteria stuff, and most people have it. So it would be the extra virgin coconut oil that I like. If you don't have it in your house, it's okay. It doesn't have to be. I don't want you to run out in the middle of having a baby and then feel like you have to go buy something. Regular coconut oil is fine. It'll work. So does olive oil. So those are the 2 that I really recommend. Imagine when we're putting stuff on our nipples, the baby's going to eat there too. So if you're okay with eating it, it's okay for the baby to eat it. So coconut oil is okay. Olive oil is okay. Breast milk obviously is really good to kind of help with that one. Look at this, I have a million tips. The other one that a lot of moms really, really like, and I'm going to show you because I have a bunch of samples, is going to be gel pads. Now, I recommend gel pads if you have cracks happening or kind of just general soreness where you don't want anything to touch in that area. Gel pads are really amazing. So this is one, kind of looks like, I do not support Medela, but I get some of their stuff. Amita makes them. You can buy them at all of the stores. They're really great. You'll put them right there on your nipples. They kind of go right in this area. There's this nice little square there, and you just put them on there under your bra. And they do this nice dressing, moist healing that you might need. So if you have cracks and stuff in there, that can really, really help with that one. If you do have any cracks, again, you've already called for help because that's not normal. The next step that I really like to talk about, moms, is actually a saline rinse. So there's salt. You make saline rinse out of salt. It's something you can make at your house right now. It's fantastic. Nurses have been using it forever. If you get any kind of wound in there, we're going to rinse that stuff out with saline. It's the same thing with your nipples. So what you would do is you would just take a nice cup of warm water, It's like 8 ounces, a normal cup, and you're going to put in a half a teaspoon of salt in there and mix it all together, and then you're going to rinse your nipples. And I mean gently rinse. So the whole process shouldn't take longer than maybe 1 to 3 minutes. So moms sometimes get a spray bottle and they'll just spray, or they'll get a cup or a bowl and they'll kind of like tip themselves into the cup and bowl and let it sit there for a second, and just rinse it out. If you go longer than 3 minutes, the salt is going to start taking out some of your moisture, and that's going to cause more cracks. So don't do that. But I definitely want to rinse it, and it kind of cleans it off. It's also going to, here we're going to get all technical, you get a biofilm when you get cracks and stuff that helps the healing, but that has to be broken down in order for your tissue to get back together. So that'll kind of help with that one. So make a saline rinse and rinse those puppies out. It really, really helps. And it helps a lot with just plain redness. Even if you don't have cracks or anything, saline rinses can help. The next thing that I love, which is going to be kind of controversial, a lot of you kind of down there are going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she recommended this. It's going to be peppermint water. I know, everybody freaks out when I talk about peppermint because that's supposed to get rid of your milk. It won't. I really, really promise it won't. And peppermint water is amazing. It's amazing because not only does it have a bunch of properties kind of with it that are also antimicrobial that are going to kind of help healing, it numbs. It does a nice numbing, and then it causes the tissue on your nipple to be kind of elastic as well. So it kind of helps the healing and then moving out, and then it numbs that area. And if you've ever experienced nipple pain, sometimes numbing is a really nice side effect that can kind of happen with that, especially at the beginning when babies are like, feed me, feed me, feed me, and they jump on there. So that could definitely be something that helps. With peppermint water that you can make, you can also make peppermint gel. That one's a little bit harder, but with the peppermint water, what you're going to want to do is you're actually going to get, it's a pretty small amount. You're going to take 2 tablespoons, and you can put it like in a little bowl or a shot glass or anything like that. You take 2 tablespoons and then 8 drops of a peppermint oil that you have, and that's going to really numb them up, if that makes sense. Obviously, if it's uncomfortable for you or you don't like it, you can rinse them away because it's water and it rinses right off. Most of the time, I'm also going to recommend that you rinse it away before you feed baby. It's a really strong smell. You're going to smell like a peppermint patty, which I love. I love peppermint patties. But you're probably going to want to rinse it off because baby's going to really smell that and be like, whoa, what happened to my food? So you might want to rinse that off after. They may think that it's fine too, and again, it's kind of okay there. It's going to get nice and absorbed. So it does that nice numbing kind of properties. Those are my top ones. Saline rinse, peppermint water, the gel pads are pretty good, and then breast milk is pretty nice. There are a couple of others, and again, it kind of depends on what's going on, but those are my top tips. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Wendy. She might have something maybe different or something that I kind of missed in there on what she recommends for moms to do.
Hi guys, can you hear me? Can you see me? Let me know if I'm just talking, no one can hear me. Just type it in the chat. But Wynn covered a lot of the really, really great things that we do: the peppermint water, the saline rinse, the hydrogel, the coconut oil, the olive oil, the lancino, these types of things. So the first thing she talked about is making sure that your latch is okay, and that's going to be probably the #1 biggest reason why your nipples are hurting. And so either get online and watch some videos or call a breastfeeding specialist out, but just make sure that your baby is positioned correctly. So a lot of the sore nipple issues can be fixed just with a positioning change. And so what a lot of moms are doing, and I'll just kind of move it down here, is they're positioning the baby's mouth on right at the breast. They're putting the baby's mouth right here at the nipple. And if you just scoot that baby back a little bit and then aim their nose at the nipple instead of their mouth, you'll get a much deeper latch. And so that's just one really quick thing you can do. Slide your baby back in your arms so that your baby's nose is touching your nipple instead of your baby's mouth. And what that facilitates is the head popping back a little bit, which helps you roll that nipple in a little deeper. So that's one quick little adjustment you can make that will make all the difference to your nipple soreness. And then just make sure that the baby's lips are flayed out so that they're almost a straight line. They're going like almost completely straight. They're like totally you can see that. Totally splayed out. But go online. The internet is a great resource for you. You'll see pictures. You'll have instructional videos. Take the time that you need to fix your position and your latch. If you can't do it on your own, please call somebody to come to your house and teach you how to do it. It will make all the difference. Another reason you might have sore nipples is because of engorgement. So with engorgement, you want to make sure that you are doing a few things. You can be doing a gentle breast massage. You can be doing hand expression. You can be doing a little bit of pumping, and you can be doing warm compresses. And that will kind of ease your nipple pain as well if it's because of engorgement. You also might be suffering from nipple pain because you have a candida infection or thrush. Thrush can make your nipples very, very sore, very red, and very itchy. So if you do have that, you need to go see your doctor. There's all sorts of herbal remedies that you can try, but I just like to say go to see your doctor and get a prescription. That's what I recommend for the thrush, because I think we need to get it taken care of and get it fixed. You might also have what's called a bleb. A bleb is like a little white dot, kind of looks like a pimple on your nipple. It's just hardened milk that's clogged one of your ducts, and it can cause nipple soreness. So you can either exfoliate it yourself, or you can go to the doctor and have it taken care of. You also might have what's called a sore nipples because of what's called a vasospasm. And it would be if you're really sensitive to cold, or after you're breastfeeding you see your nipples a little bit white. That can cause nipple soreness as well. So just make sure that if you do have that, you're taking a warm shower, you're using warm compresses. You might even go to your doctor for an anti-inflammatory medicine or some kind of a painkiller if it's really, really bad. Also pay attention to the way your body is reacting to the certain things that you're using on your breast. If you're using breast shells or plastic parts on your pump, or any kind of like lotion or soap or shampoo that might be causing a reaction in your skin, that can cause nipple soreness as well, and you would want to go ahead and stop using those products. But there's also things like hormonal changes that can affect your nipples, that can make your nipples sore. And so if you're having hormonal changes, that can also be a sign that you're having sore nipples. And sometimes actually changes in your baby's saliva can cause a little soreness. So I suggest for the nipple soreness, again, to recap, please make sure that you've got your position and your latch correct. Rub the breast milk on your nipples. Try the warm compresses. But this is what I always like to say, okay? This is my top number one hint, okay? So there's two schools of thought with the nipple healing, okay? So if you do have sore, cracked, or bleeding nipples, what they used to tell you is that you want to do dry healing. And so they would say leave your shirt off, expose it to air, put a hair dryer on it. And a lot of women find success with that, and I'm not trying to say that that's not something that you can try, because you should try different things. But what I have found the most success with is treating your nipple skin like you treat your lip skin, okay? So if you had a cracked or split lip, what would you do? Would you put a hair dryer on your cracked and split lip and hope that it heals? Or would you get like the gooeyest, like coconut oil, or like beeswax, or like really, really nice, like really lubricating chapstick to put on your lip? You would probably put the chapstick on. And so that's kind of what I like moms to think about with their nipples is treat it like you would treat your lip skin if your lip had a crack in it. So those are my top tips. If you have any questions, the chat box is open. You can also hop on your webcam. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, Wendy. Definitely, definitely. I love that. How you treat your lips is how you're going to want to treat your nipples. And that was a funny thing that we kind of didn't even mention, was a lot of moms use lanolin or a nipple butter or nipple cream. They work great for some people. Some people are allergic to lanolin. Obviously, you could be allergic to anything. So kind of be on the lookout for that one. But it's the same thing. If you have cracked, dry lips, you put Vaseline on that stuff. You get a lip balm and you put that on there. We want that same thing. Oil can be really good for kind of elasticness, but it doesn't penetrate deep enough to kind of do the same thing as like a Vaseline would, right? So if you put oil on your lips, you're going to have that moisture on the top, but it's not going to help the moisture kind of come out. Which is something that you would want, but those are all really good. So those are our top tips. I know some of you have put in your email address over there. If you want it all written out again, how to make it at home, please put in your email address. But after that, I'm now going to open it up to all of you guys, so you can ask questions about nipple pain and what you might want to know specifically, or really just general breastfeeding questions. If you're faced with something right at this moment and you want to talk about it, let us know. You can definitely go ahead and type it in, or you can unmute yourself. So at the top bar there on your computer is that microphone. Go ahead and unmute yourself and then ask, and we'll kind of go with that.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So what my little guy has taken to doing lately is when he pops off, he like pulls all the way back and like pulls my nipple way back, and I'm just like, ah. Is there anything I can do to encourage him to not do that? Or, because I don't know when he's going to do it. It's very like random. Whenever he's done or whatever. And it's just excruciating. He does it on both sides, and I don't know if it's like he's getting distracted by something, or he's just done and that's how he's popping off, or what. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. So how old is your baby again?
He's 2 months.
Okay. And randomly every now and then he likes to pull back and take your entire nipple with it. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yep.
That is not fun. So not fun. So not okay. Definitely open up to the floor. Somebody might have the first thing that I would think about, what have you tried so far to get him to stop? Do you just automatically hurry and unlatch him, or what have you done?
Well, he unlatches himself. Like, that's what he does. He's pulling himself off.
Oh, okay, I get it. So as he's pulling off, he's not letting go of the nipple, but he's pulling off because he's done at the same time.
Well, or he thinks he's done. He'll sometimes go back after that.
Okay. First thing that I like to say, any baby that's going to be pulling on your nipple, what you want to do is make sure the baby is super close to you. I don't have my doll next to me. So you want to make sure that your baby's really, really close to you while you're feeding to begin with. The closer they are, the harder it is that they can pull back. If you feel like he is starting to pull back, automatically bring him in closer. Believe it or not, bringing a baby into the boob is going to be their easiest way to open up their mouth and let go. They'll be like, whoa, what are you doing? And they'll kind of start with that one. To kind of maybe prevent it from beginning, a lot of times, especially at that age, we're hitting like a growth spurt or a developmental milestone that might be happening. So sometimes actually increasing that flow is going to help them to kind of just stay on. They're kind of looking, they want more milk to come out, so some babies will pull back, and they'll be like, come on, let's go.
Okay.
So if you do like breast massage or compressions with it, it's the same analogy. If you have like a water bottle and you squish it and the water shoots out, the milk is also going to start kind of going. So after your first letdown, if you feel like, they're sucking, and they go back to the nibbling and not swallowing so much, try some massage with it, and that will increase that flow. So hopefully he just stays on, and then let's go when he's not.
Okay. All right.
Anybody else have any thoughts that might help? All right.
I'm just going to mute us because he's fussing. So I'm listening though.
He's adorable. You might be hungry right now. Perhaps not. Maybe we kind of covered it all. Definitely. Does anybody have any other questions, maybe nipple pain or just breastfeeding in general, that they might want to cover?
I don't have any questions, but I was wondering your thoughts, Lynn, on cabbage leaves. Because my midwife, when I was going through thrush and all that, and before Freya's tie, she told me purple cabbage leaves like worked really well, and they seem to help. But I see it's like not like a highly recommended thing, and so I was wondering like if there's a reason for that.
I love cabbage leaves. So I'm not really sure. It kind of depends on what we're using it for. And a lot of times when we talk about cabbage leaves, I talk about in the engorgement phase. So when you've got a lot of tissue swelling happening in your breast, right? So after you have baby, you're not only filling up with milk, but you're mostly filling up with like fluid from tissue and all of that, and it's kind of getting in there. So what it does is it decreases the fluid in that area and makes it easier for baby to latch. It'll also decrease the milk supply a little bit. So some of the controversy comes down to some cabbage can decrease your supply. Research has done it where they showed, yeah, it'll kind of bring back the milk. This isn't a drastic. I've never seen a mom that put a cabbage leaf on her breast and then the next feeding all of her milk was gone. I've never heard or seen of that. But over time, it can help kind of just reduce it. And what it really does is it reduces a lot more of that inflammation that might be going on. So it's really good in the beginning stages. You'll chill them because cold therapy, believe it or not, feels amazing. It's kind of the same idea if you get a swollen ankle, right? So if you twisted your ankle and it's nice and swollen, you don't put a heating pad on it. You put ice on that. Because you want to help it. So chilling that and then those cabbage leaves on there can really help with that. And that's probably where they were going with it. It doesn't specifically help with nipple soreness or nipple pain if you have something happening in there, except the cold feels good. So definitely. And the gel pads that some moms get, you could put those in the fridge as well. You could put anything in the fridge. You could even use straight up ice and ice your nipples beforehand if you want, because that'll numb them. And it feels nice.
Gotcha.
Anybody have thoughts on cabbage or the use of cabbage leaves for breastfeeding? Has anybody done it before? Ooh, it looks like there was an answer in the chat kind of there. So yeah, definitely. I like that. Cabbage is good. Purple is amazing. I think there's more research that's done on purple because you mentioned that one as opposed to the green. But a lot of the Western medicine that's been done has been on green, and the Eastern side is a little more on the purple. I don't know why. They both have the same effects. Any other questions, breastfeeding-wise?
Hey, Wendy, do you care if I hop on for just a second?
You should, Wendy.
Okay, guys. So we talked a little bit about doing compresses for pain when you're dealing with nipple pain, and I just wanted to give you a little bit further guidelines on the compresses to make sure that you're doing them correctly, because if you do them incorrectly, you might cause further swelling. So if you're alternating between cold and hot, which can be very, very therapeutic and can help quite a bit, both feel very, very good. I just want to make sure that you understand that when you do the warm compress, it needs to be like a more moist type of heat, which would be like a warm rag or like a microwaved rice sock, or you could combine like a warm rag with the rice sock on top. But make sure that you don't do the warm for more than about 5 minutes, or you could increase your swelling. So the ratio that we like to look at when you're doing a switch with the compresses is about 5 minutes of heat, moist heat, and then you can do up to 20 minutes of cold. But don't do it so cold that you're turning the skin on your breast red. You just want to do it chilled, which is, I think, the reason why the cabbage leaves are so nice is that they are at a very, very nice temperature for the body, and they're very, very soft. So just make sure you follow those compress guidelines if you're working with engorgement or sore nipples. No more than 5 for the heat and up to 20 for the cold.
Definitely. Thank you, Wendy. Those are good. And obviously, if you're using any kind of compress for whatever reason, if it's going to be mastitis to the plugged ducts to engorgement, there's a lot that can be done, and you want to have guidelines to it. Just like with your twisted ankle, you're not going to put ice on that for hours and hours and hours at end, because that would not feel good. So it's kind of the same application there. We do it for a little bit, you take it off, you put it back on, kind of idea. That helps. Thank you for clarifying. That is really important to know. Any other questions? Oh, Caitlin, I saw that you kind of put in there. Maybe that helps kind of address the same with that when you deal with like plug ducts or mastitis, they have different time frames. When I talk about mastitis or plug ducts, I'm at a maximum when we do moist heat therapy, no longer than 20 minutes with those ones. So, and it's the same if you're going to use sliced potatoes, which are amazing. It sounds crazy, but it works really good. That kind of helps a lot too with mastitis and then the plug ducts as well. When we talk about blebs and we want to clear those ones up, so that's the milk sitting on the nipple part, that's, yeah, you don't really use cold or heat. I use oil for that one to help soften things up, and then you can use a nice little towel to rub it away, and generally that works really good. And that oil, you put it on a cotton ball and that'll stay for as long as you want. Some moms do it all day long, which is fine. I know most of you ladies maybe already had your baby. I don't know if any of you are pregnant. Did you guys ever experience nipple pain, and what did you do for it to kind of help things? Anybody want to share?
I can share. So I had nipple pain a couple of times. My little guy was a preemie, and so we were dealing with his small mouth. He did latch really well from the beginning, but I mean, his mouth was small. He was small. And then there was one day that he just shredded my nipple for some reason. I don't know what was going on, but the thing that really helped me the most was coconut oil. I mean, I had a lot of, I had lanolin, I had a bunch of stuff, but the thing that helped me the most was coconut oil. And at that time, I was feeding him, and I was pumping a lot, and especially while we were in the hospital and he was in the NICU and stuff. And so what I would do is I would put the coconut oil not directly on my nipple, but on, around. And then it would kind of make its way up there. And then I'm pretty sure he noticed the flavor. The coconut oil I have is pretty strong, but he would be like, oh, what is that? But he got used to it and it was fine. And that was the thing that really helped. I mean, when he shredded my nipple the one day, it was like within 24 hours I was back to breastfeeding and feeling fine. So that really helped me a lot.
Yeah, coconut oil can be really, really good, and I'm glad you found that, or someone told you about it, or somewhere in there. It can be really, really amazing. That works with that. Caitlin said, what about sunshine? Sunshine's great. Actually, lots of research has been done on the natural light. I'm in Oregon, and right now it's sunny because we're getting into like summer. I'm so excited. But sometimes there's not as much sun. The lamps work too. So those nice mood lamps that give you the right rays, that helps too. You can just kind of like sunbathe your nipples if you want to kind of help with that. And lots of research has shown that really helps with healing as well. Kind of interesting, but yeah, it helps. Again, we don't want to over dry, so again, think of your cracked lips, right? Which is why a lot of people thought for a while that hair dryers worked really good. They're like, oh, well, if we dry everything out, it'll be good. Not the same. So don't do that one. Anybody else want to share? No? Okay. All right, well, I like to keep them kind of semi-short, so this was kind of our Boobie Hangout. If you guys have thoughts on anything that you want to talk about next time, we can definitely kind of pile together some information and we'll talk about it then. I love just talking about general breastfeeding questions too, so don't feel like when you come today they have to be specifically what our topic's about. It can be anything off the side of, oh my gosh, my baby eats all the time, is that normal? Or I went back to work and now I'm trying to pump and I don't know how to get all the milk that I need, all of that. I mean, that kind of fits in there. We could also make a topic on any of those. So if you have something specific, let us know. Again, if you want the handouts, make sure that you drop us your email that's on there, and we'll send those to you. And then if you also want like contact information on who to call, because again, the first thing that really, really helps with nipple pain, in all honesty, is getting some really good support, making sure that your latch is good and that all of that is working, and then we work on healing the nipple and moving forward from there. You have to fix the root of the cause first before you can move forward. So definitely drop us your email in the chat, which is up there if you haven't seen it yet. The chat's kind of up in that corner. I think most of you saw it. But otherwise, thank you guys so much for coming. I'm glad to talk about breastfeeding and nipples. Obviously, it's my passion. So thanks for coming, and I will see you guys next time, okay?
Bye, you guys. Thanks for coming.